Wembley on the 6th of May 1972, and the biggest birthday party of them all, the Centenary final of the Football Association Challenge Cup. The two finalists, Arsenal and Leeds United. Arsenal, 4 times winners of the Cup, the last time just 12 months before, when they became the second club of this 20th century to win both Cup and League Championship in one season. And Leeds United, the favourites, yet attempting to win the Cup for the first time in their history. But more than that, attempting to complete the first leg of the double themselves. The holders against the favourites, the South against the North, two of the game's super clubs. The scene, too, perfect. On the morning of the match, there'd been a fair amount of rain. But by kick-off time, the sky had lifted and lightened. There was a hint of blue overhead. The flags of more than 30 nations were flapping playfully. And Wembley, the old grey stadium, was wearing its broadest smile. Wedged tightly in their places, 100,000 people who'd happily paid £191,000 to be there. Record receipts for an FA Cup final at Wembley. There, too, Her Majesty the Queen, the Duke of Edinburgh, and the Prime Minister, Mr. Edward Heath. The time, 3 o'clock. Commentator, Peter Jones.
We've talked about this one now for nearly 3 weeks. The talking is just about ready to finish, because in any second now, Mr. David Smith, coming from a very quiet village in Gloucestershire, he's anything but quiet, blows his whistle, and we're into this 1972 Cup final. And in the first 5 seconds, Alan Clark upends Alan Ball, and we have a free kick to Arsenal just inside the centre circle. Arsenal playing in this first half from right to left as we look down high above the halfway line. Simpson taking the free kick, short square to his left to George Graham. Graham keeping it going left to Bob McNabb. McNabb a 1-2 with Armstrong, and another one back to Armstrong, picked up by Radford just outside the Leeds penalty area, trying a square ball. It's picked up by Giles for Leeds, but Ball beats him and turns it square to Graham. Graham finding good space for Arsenal, halfway inside the Leeds half. Tries a reverse ball, but only finds the tall figure of Madeley, who heads it down to Giles. Giles turning, coming towards us, that's to the Leeds right. Downfield to Clark. Clark controls, turns it to his right to Lorimer. Lorimer goes round McNabb, but McNabb brings him down with a thumping tackle. And Mr. Smith coming over to have a word with McNabb and looking almost for the moment as if he might put his name in the book. That was a very severe tackle by Bob McNabb. Lorimer down on the floor just inside the Leeds half, and the book in fact has come out. Really a sensational start here, and Bob McNabb, the Arsenal left back, is having his name put in the book by Mr. Smith for a very severe tackle on Peter Lorimer, who's still down on the deck. Really a quite sensational start. Free kick then to Leeds United, about 5 yards inside the Arsenal half on the right flank of Leeds. That is from left to right as we look down. The kick from Charlton, not a good one, but it finds Bremner, and Bremner spins it into the area, and Barnett has to go up and fist it away. But Mr. Smith right on the spot there and says there was a challenge on Barnett, an illegal challenge, so it's a free kick to Arsenal. And there was Jeff Barnett, 25 years of age, came in for Bob Wilson in the semi-final of the replay against Stoke City. He was an understudy to Gordon West for so long at Everton, an understudy to Bob Wilson for so long at Highbury, and here he is in his first cup final. He takes the free kick himself, turns it left to Simpson, the ever-reliable man in the Arsenal defence. Simpson turning it to his left to McNabb. McNabb and Bremner together, and McNabb gets the better of it, turns it right to George. George turning it out to McNabb again. Down the Arsenal left flank, back to Armstrong. The little figure of Armstrong works so well. The longest serving member on the Highbury staff turns it to his left to McNabb. McNabb just outside the area, puts it onto his right foot. A square short ball to Graham. Graham going to have a go at this one, and it goes over the bar. And there was David Harvey coming into it just as it skimmed over. Good work there by George Graham. And we just had a score flash from Hampden up there. Celtic in the lead, 1-0 against Hibs. 1-0 up at Hampden Park. Here after a couple of minutes, no score, as David Harvey takes the goal kick himself. The ball halfway inside the Arsenal half. An overhead kick from Lorimer, and Clark's there, but really no danger for Barnett, who comes out, clasps it quite confidently, kicks it high into the sky. Now grey and blue, and the grain has stopped, thankfully, and the ball halfway inside the Leeds half, and it's Giles coming across. Giles and Storey together, and the ball ricochets off Storey into touch. Throw in to Leeds, I thought, but referee says no, it's a throw in to Arsenal. That collision between Storey and Giles, which the whole world of football, I think, has been waiting for these past 3 weeks or so, but that went off without too much incident. Throw from Graham down the line to try and find Radford. Charlton comes over, puts it into touch, halfway inside the Leeds half. Graham taking the throw, infield, a collision there between Lorimer and Storey, and Lorimer comes away with it. Lorimer inside the centre circle, turning it to his left, to that far side now. And Leeds on the attack in their all-white strip, coming infield. A tremendous collision there from Storey, went in like an earth remover. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Must be a free kick. It is indeed. Taken quickly by Madeley. Turning it to Giles. Giles just inside the Arsenal half. Reverse ball to that far side. And it's Eddie Gray now, that left flank, the man who loves these open spaces. Gray still coming forward, brought down by Charlie George. We're having bodies falling all over the place. We can do without it. But Mr. Smith, I'm sure the man who can grasp the nettle firmly, he's got to do it, because this one could get out of hand. A pity, because there's so much quality there. We expect good football. Both these sides can produce it. A free kick then, another free kick to Leeds. It's Giles to take it. He does this sort of stuff so well. Arcs it in. The flag goes up on the far side for an offside against Alan Clark. Referee acknowledges it, but because Barnett's got possession, quite rightly allows play to go on, keeping it moving. The kick from Barnett inside the centre circle. Armstrong going forward. It's cleared by Norman Hunter just below us here, almost into touch, but Bob McNabb comes over and picks it up on the Arsenal left flank. George Graham loses his footing on the greasy top, picks himself up, turns it on to Armstrong. Armstrong to Radford. Charlton comes in and brings Radford down with a tremendous thump. Charlton says sorry, but it's a free kick to Arsenal, and Graham going up to take the free kick himself. In fact, leaves it. Plenty of time here, no need for hurry, and leaves it to Peter Simpson. Simpson, as always, with his jersey outside his shorts. Good run from Simpson, but well read there by Harvey. Harvey playing this afternoon instead of Welsh international Gary Sprake. Must have been a difficult decision for Don Reid, but Harvey's there. He's played the last 5 games, and here he is in the cup final at Wembley. He bowls it out to the left flank to Madeley. Madeley coming in field again, turns it to Giles. Giles, a quick ball, good stuff. Could have been a good ball to Eddie Gray. Ball goes into touch. 5.5 minutes gone into this first half here. The Centenary Cup final, still Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0, and a throw-in to Arsenal on their right flank on the far side, but it's picked up by Giles for Leeds. A reverse ball to Jones, touching it for the first time. What could have been a good ball, I think, from Jones out to the far-running Eddie Gray, but must surely have gone over the line. No, it didn't indeed, but no danger to Arsenal, because Barnett read that one well. Goes over, picks it up, a little touch ball back from Pat Rice, and he will come out right to the edge of that white 18-yard line, showing up so clearly on this green turf. Long one downfield, headed back by Reaney, but only picked up by George for Arsenal, halfway inside the Leeds half, turning it to his left, just below us to Armstrong. Armstrong trying to find ball, but only finds the tall figure of Charlton, who clears his lines, but only as far as Simpson. And Simpson in turn to Story, and Story to ball, halfway inside the Leeds half, now turning it back to Simpson. Simpson trying a 1-2 with Radford. Radford can't get hold of it, but Radford had made a back there for Norman Hunter. So it's a free kick to Leeds United, about 5 or 6 yards outside the Leeds 18-yard area. Hunter and Radford for a moment looking as if they might have a little go at each other there. 2 Yorkshiremen. That might be quite interesting, I would think. John Radford from Yorkshire, but now, of course, very much an Arsenal man. Free kick taken and turned back quite sensibly to David Harvey, so that he can have a look around and see a little bit of space up front for his front runners. Long high ball, reaches the head of Clark, goes as far as Bremner. Bremner just inside the Arsenal half, switches it to that far side to Madeley, the sort of stuff that Bremner does so well, this reverse ball that can catch men out so often. Madeley back to Giles, not a good ball from Giles, spun off the outside of his left foot there and went into touch, picked up by one of these grey track-suited ball boys. And a throw to Arsenal. McClintock taking the throw to Ball. Ball back to McClintock, and in turn back to Ball. McClintock going for the return, but they're very tight near that line on the far side, and in the end, almost inevitably, the ball goes into touch. But it's a throw into the cherry red shirts of Arsenal, just on the halfway line, almost alongside that red and yellow flag on the halfway line. A long one down to Radford. Radford challenged by Madeley. Ball goes into touch, and Mr. Smith, right alongside the player, says it's a throw into Leeds. Taken quickly and put in field to Hunter now. Hunter with this long stride of his, and a long ball downfield to Jones. Good work here by Jones, going down to the line. Danger possibly here for Arsenal. Turns round McClintock, turns it back to Clark. Clark trying to get round Rice, doesn't, but it rebounds and goes on to Jones. On that far side, the Leeds left. Leeds trying to find Giles in midfield. He's the man who's always there, but they have to leave it to Charlton. Charlton onto the head of Gray. Gray to his right here, to Lorimer. Almost off balance, but gets it forward. But some good work there by George Graham for Arsenal. Such a good player, this man. Deceptively languid-looking player, but so good, this Scottish international. And he sends a long one downfield, but it's picked up inside the centre circle by Giles. Giles turning it to his right to Madeley. Madeley infield to Charlton. And this organised defensive work of Leeds, but not so organised there with the free kick, with the kick, because Graham picks it up and tries to send McClintock away. McClintock turning it to Ball. Ball twists, turns back towards his own goal, puts it onto his right foot, turns it downfield to Radford. Good work by Radford. Story goes in with a tremendous collision there between Story and Madeley. Story on the floor, and this time it's a free kick to Arsenal. Great collision there between the short, stocky, but powerful Story. 9 minutes gone into this first half. Still Arsenal 0, Leeds United 0 in this Centenary final. And a free kick to Arsenal. There's a white wall of Leeds players, 1, 2, 3, 4 of them. A clip ball from a Ball, back to George. George shoots, but really not much angle, not much power on that one, and goes over the bar with no trouble at all there to David Harvey.
Both sides at this stage finding difficulty in settling down. Not because they were nervous, there wasn't a nerve end in sight, but simply because so much was at stake, simply because victory mattered so much. 14 minutes now into the first half.
Barnett to take the goal kick for Arsenal. It's a good kick, reaches 15 yards inside the Leeds half, but Giles is there as the little terrier he is to pick it up and turn it to his left to the far side to Gray. Gray going down the line, but Ball and Rice between them. Rob Gray, and Ball sends a long one downfield to Charlie George, but Charlton reads it, calmly lets it go through to David Harvey. The Leeds players obviously have great faith in Harvey, and Bremner tussling there with Graham, a little neat back heel by Bremner, and he comes forward now, turns it to his right to Lorimer. Lorimer turning it also to his right to Clark. Clark on the edge of the 18-yard area, going forward. If he turns it to the short ball back to Lorimer. Lorimer going down the byline, a dangerous looking moment this. Jones's head is there, but very good work by McClintock, heads it away, and Eddie Gray trying a first-time shot that goes over the bar and lands on the crescent of sand. But good work there by Leeds United with 15 minutes gone into this first half. Well, it's Arsenal trying the rhythm at the moment because it's Charlie George halfway inside the Leeds half, beckoning players to come to him, turns a ball to his left to Alan Ball, who has to run and pick it up, and in so doing slips on the turf, and Charlton picks it up and sends one downfield to Lorimer. Lorimer now accelerating forward for Leeds, down the right flank. He's gone round Simpson, he's going down the line, but some good work by Simpson, who puts the ball over the byline. Good recovery there by Simpson, because it looked for a moment as if Lorimer had gone round him. I thought it had gone for a corner, but Mr. Smith was right there. He obviously saw it ricochet off the white stocking of Peter Lorimer, so it's a goal kick to Arsenal. Such a dangerous player, Peter Lorimer. This man is said to have the hardest shot in football. Well, it's become almost a bit of a cliche now, but I know at least half a dozen First Division goalkeepers who would guarantee that that is absolutely true. Easily the club's leading goal scorer, and not a man to allow in the penalty area. There was Hunter and Radford going up again at that moment. There seemed to be no danger at all, but they had a little bit of a go at each other, and it's a free kick to Leeds United against Radford. Radford and Hunter obviously going to have much more than a birthday party here, still wagging their heads at each other and having a little word. I'd like to know exactly what those words are. Charlton to take the free kick, finds the head of Mick Jones. Mick Jones trying to head it on again, but Pat Rice there and nods the ball back to his goalkeeper Jeff Barnett as the sun comes out strongly here at Wembley, and Barnett taking the kick to that far side, slightly off balance I think, and didn't get quite enough length, got more breadth than length. Gray trying to set Bremner going, but only finds Alan Ball. Ball turning it to his left to Armstrong. Armstrong to Ball, running well, but a very, very good sliding tackle there by Charlton. Throw into Arsenal, taken quickly by Armstrong. Armstrong to Gray.